Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining Charles Moscowitz live stream Monday through Friday around 12 noon. Let's see. You're welcome to join the program. 617-396-4830. 617-396-4830. What's on your mind this afternoon? This just came in over the wires a few hours ago, and it's the sort of issue that I usually don't get into, but it strikes me as something that should be and very well may be a significant moment in our cultural development. And that is that an LGBT group has dropped Martina Navratilova, the tennis player, over transgender comments. Now, Martina Navratilova was a major tennis star several years ago, a Grand Slam winner, 18-time Grand Slam winner. She's been dropped as the Athlete Alley ambassador because of her comments about LGBT and specifically about transgendered, in that she has criticized transgendered men playing women in sports, and that this is not politically correct. Now, let me just look at a little bit. This column comes from The Guardian, which is an English newspaper. Sometimes the English papers will cover a story more honestly and openly, so amazingly, than American papers. You don't get this news. I don't think this is breaking in the United States. Martina Navratilova has been removed as an ambassador by Athlete Alley, an organization that supports LGBT athletes, following her comments on transgender inclusion. The 18-time Grand Slam tennis singles champion referred to trans women as men who, quote, decide to be female, unquote, in a newspaper column this week, adding that allowing them to compete with women who are assigned female at birth is, quote, cheating and unfair, unquote. Her comments were heavily criticized and described as, quote, disturbing, upsetting, and deeply transphobic by the rights group Transactual, and now Athletes Alley, a U.S. nonprofit organization that campaigns for greater inclusion in sport, has followed suit, also removing the 62-year-old from their advisory board. Now, let me just pause here and point that this nonprofit group that calls for greater inclusion in sport, there's nothing exclusionary about sports in that these men who are claiming to be women, according to Martina Navratilova's comments that I tend to agree with, they can compete in sports. They can compete as men. They want to compete as women. They want to take the women's side. And Martina Navratilova's objection is that, based upon the basic and obvious observation, a biological observation, that men and women are different. They have different strengths and weaknesses, different physiques, and that the male has a stronger upper body strength than the woman. That is just a fact. Now, that doesn't mean that every man has a stronger upper body strength than every woman. There are obviously exceptions. But we can make generalizations based upon observation. Just like the male and female genital organs are different. Men tend to have more upper body infrastructure. Women, on the other hand, have more lower body infrastructure, I think, or whatever. I mean, I'm not a physicist here, so, stick with me. But the point is that there are obvious physical differences. For example, men in general make better firefighters because the male can pass the physical. Even an average strength male is stronger in terms of carrying somebody out of a fire because they've got upper body strength than a woman would be. That doesn't mean women can't do it, but there was a move, this was probably about 10 years ago, I think it's kind of gone away, where there was a requirement to lower the standards of the physical test required so that more women could be firefighters. Now that's insane, because if you're in a burning fire and you're trapped with smoke coming everywhere and you're on the verge of dying from smoke inhalation, You're better off having a man come in who can lift you up if you've passed out and carry you out than a woman. I'm sorry, but that's a fact. Now, that doesn't mean that some women would not be able to pass that test and show that they have that kind of upper body strength as well. But to lower those standards, that's, irresponsible. I mean, it's putting lives at risk. Same thing with football or baseball, or basketball or hockey. Should they lower the standards so that women can play football? I don't know. I mean, why not do what they've done all along? And not so much in the case of football, but certainly in the case of baseball and basketball, have women's teams where women compete against other women and men compete against other men, because it recognizes the fact that there are basic physiological differences between men and women. That's a biological issue. It's not whether or not I want it to be such. It just is. So Martina Navratilova is simply pointing out that, and I'm not a tennis expert here, and I don't claim to be, but that women tennis players are different than male tennis players, and that male tennis players have certain advantages over women. So if you're going to have a male tennis player put on a dress and put on a wig or let his hair grow and take hormones or whatever it is they're doing and declare themselves as a woman, it doesn't negate the fact that they are still biological men, as they were born to be, and that in that capacity they still have the physical attributes of a man. And by that I mean, upper body strength. Now, whether or not they, have their genitals changed, that's another question. I mean, even if they do, I mean, you look at Bruce Jenner, he still has a male athletic body. He's decided to live life as a woman, and that's his right. I don't want to interfere with that. People can call themselves whatever they want to call themselves, whatever they're comfortable calling themselves. They can call themselves a pumpkin. That's their business. It's a free country. As if you're a consenting adult, I have big problems with this being foisted on children. To me, that's child abuse, and it's torture. But when you reach the age of consent and the age of adulthood, if you want to be whatever you want to be, you can be that. But that doesn't make it ultimately so. And in the case of athletics, it obviously isn't so. There are other issues we could discuss. I'm not going to get there, but such as the desegregation, the integration of the girls' locker room and the girls' shower room and whatnot with boys who want to say they're girls. I think it's a sham, and I think it's not healthy for younger people to be doing that. But that's another subject for another day. I'm simply bringing this up today to talk about Martina Navratilova using her position as one of the world's premier athletes and using her prestige to take a position and take a stand on this issue on the part of women, which I think is a courageous position, because if you're going to have men claiming to be women, even believing they're women, and then going out and getting involved with women's sports, then we're not going to have women in those sports any longer succeeding. And to me, that's frankly anti-women. And I think that's how Martina Navratilova, who, by the way, is an avowed lesbian and a feminist, that's how she sees it. And I tend to agree with that. Anyways, it's a tricky issue to get into. From a philosophical standpoint, from a political standpoint, I think there's nothing the left loves more than this idea that people can change their sex based upon whim, based upon belief, and that they want to encourage that, quite frankly. I know they may deny that, but they actually view it as a virtue, and that the transgender has become the vanguard of leftist change in this society. The idea that you can change human nature is, of course, the fundamental belief of the left. And what could be a greater expression of that than deciding that you can be a woman or be a man as opposed to the sex you were born with? Anyway, I want to thank you for watching, everyone. Charles Moscowitz. Have a great day.